Then let us learn the bones in the limbs. Let us see the upper limb, that is the hand. Hand has its upper bone known as the humerus, and again you can see in the lower part of our arm, our lower part of the arm, that has two bones make the lower part, that is the radius and ulna are the two bones in the lower part of the arm. Then again you can see the part known as the carpals, that are the wrist bones, that make 8 bones together make the wrist region, that show a gliding type of movement in the wrist region. Then again you can see the metacarpal. They are 5 in number. At our hand, at our palm region, that are the metacarpals, that make 5 bones make the long bones make the metacarpals. Then the finger bones are known as the phalanges, that are 14 in number. In our thumb region, at the thumb region only 2 bones are present. All the other fingers have 3 bones are there, so that we can fold it very easily. That are very easily we can movable joint. Again that are examples of hinge joint, only in one direction we can move it, so they are the hinge joint. Then the wrist region, that is the gliding joint. Then again here in the knee, in the here at the region of elbow, that is the example of another hinge joint. Then in the shoulder region you can see the ball and socket joint. I am telling about the joint, the portion joint also I am explaining here. Ball, the upper part of this humerus is inserted into a hollow known as the glenoid cavity. Here it is known as the glenoid cavity here, glenoid cavity here, but at the knee here it is known as the acetabulum. Here the legs that are attached to this point is known as the acetabulum, but here this kind of ball and socket joint we can find in the glenoid cavity. Here you can see another bone known as the collar bone. Collar bone, you can see here the clavicle, or the here you can see the collar bone here, that is also attached to the sternum, and that is the bones of the upper limb or the hand. Then let us see the lower limb, that are the legs. The longest bone in human body, that is the femur, is the longest bone. Instead of radius and ulna, here radius and ulna 2 bones are here. In the same way, in the lower part of the leg, tibia and fibula are the 2 bones in the lower part of our leg. Then here you see the carpals. The wrist bones are 8 carpals are there. Instead here in the ankle region, the tarsals are the bone, but they are less, one less, that are 7 in number. Here in the same place, in the wrist bone, carpals are 8, but here in the ankle region it is only 7. One number is less, you can remember like that. But here the metatarsals, here metacarpals you see here in the same position in the limb, that are metatarsals, and metatarsals are there. The metatarsals also same like 5 in number like in the hand. Then phalanges also 14 in number, that is same in leg and hand. The finger numbers, the bones in the fingers also same, that is also 14 in number. You know the bigger toe, you can see the first toe is the bigger one, that only has, even though it is larger one, it has only 2 bones. All the other small fingers in the toe, that small toes have only has 3 bones in each of it, even though they are smaller than the first bigger toe. They contain 3 bones. The first larger toe has only 2 toes like our thumb. In hand, the thumb is the smallest one with the 2 bones, but in hand, the largest toe is in place of our thumb that has only 2 bones. That is the structure of the human skeleton. Then again, let us see the other pectoral or shoulder girdle. Here you can see the glenoid cavity from where this is a flat bone at the back part or upper shoulder region. A flat bone is there, that is known as the pectoral or shoulder girdle. Here you can see for attachment of collarbone, from where the collarbone is attached. This triangular shaped pectoral girdle that is attached to the upper that backbone, the part of the backbone, its upper part holding this position. It is dorsally attached on either side of the vertebral column it is attached, this triangular shaped bone. Here for attachment from where the collarbone is starting, you can see, and glenoid cavity from where the humerus or the upper arm is fixed here in the glenoid cavity. Then this is the structure of the shoulder girdle. In like that we can see the hip girdle or the pelvic girdle. Here you can see the acetabulum from where the cavity for head of the thigh bone, the largest bone in the leg, is attached in the acetabulum region. Then it has the sacrum, that is the part of the vertebral column, the last part of the vertebral column you can see as the sacrum, and it has mainly 3 bones are there in the hip girdle. First one is the ilium, largest bone. It is a cup shaped region, and here again you can see the ilium and ischium. You can see the ischium, ilium the upper part, and the ischium you can see, and the middle part pubis. That is the region of the shoulder hip girdle. It is attaching the limbs, lower limb, the leg is attached in the acetabulum. Its another main function is it is protecting the internal organs like the urinary bladder or our intestinal part, our stomach, etc. also supported by this ilium. In certain differences are there in the skeleton between the male and female skeleton is described here. Male, the skeleton is generally larger and heavier than in female. In female, because you know that in human beings, males are the strongest individual because their muscular body and skeleton is well developed. For in olden days, man lived in forest, and you know that he had to fight with animals, so the creator gave him a stronger body, so bones are also heavier and stronger than the female. In female, another structure, the pelvis or the hip bone is wider and trough shaped to adapt for accommodating the fetus in the uterus during pregnancy. Usually the female has another duty to give birth to young ones, that is her uterus and other organs have to hold in this region, in the lower part of the skeleton. So in female, this is compared to male, it is the wider part. Then the joints I explained about its immovable joint. Then example, the skeleton or the bones in the skull. Then partially movable joints between rib, breastbone or between the vertebrae. We know that it is, we can move it partially. Freely movable joints are also there. Gliding joint, that examples of wrist as well as the ankle region. നമ്മുടെ ഉപ്പൂറ്റിയും കൈയുടെ ഈ റിസ്റ്റ് റീജിയനൊക്കെ ഗ്ലൈഡിങ് ജോയിൻറ്റിന് എക്സാമ്പിൾ. Pivot joint, only one pivot joint is in the human body. In that pivot meaning the bone is rotated over a pivot like end or on another bone. For example, the skull is rotating. A rotating bone is only that is, the skull is rotating on the end of the vertebra. That bone is known as the atlas. The uppermost vertebrae is known as the atlas. Here an axis, a point known as axis is there. On that our skull is placed. So it is the only pivot joint. Then hinge joint. Hinge എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ കഥകിൻ്റെയൊക്കെ വിജാഗിരി. Only to one side we can fold it. In the opposite direction we cannot fold it. So it is, ഇപ്പം നമ്മൾ ഡോറാണെങ്കിലും അറിയാം, ഒരു വശത്തേക്ക് തുറയുന്നുള്ളൂ, പിന്നെ വീണ്ടും അടച്ചു കഴിഞ്ഞ് വീണ്ടും നമ്മൾ അങ്ങോട്ട് തള്ളിയാൽ അത് ആ വശത്തേക്ക് പോകുന്നില്ല. ലൈക്ക് ദാറ്റ് ദ ഹിഞ്ച് ജോയിൻ്റ് ഓൾസോ വി ക്യാൻ ഫോൾഡ് അവർ ഹാൻഡ് ലൈക്ക് ദിസ് ആൻഡ് എക്സ്റ്റെൻഡ് അപ് ടു ദിസ്. വി കനോട്ട് മൂവ് ഇറ്റ് ഇൻ ടു ദ അതർ സൈഡ്. എക്സാമ്പിൾ അവർ നീ ഓർ അവർ എൽബോ, മുട്ട്, അതുപോലെ തന്നെ കാൽമുട്ടും കൈമുട്ട്, അതുപോലെ തന്നെ the other portions. Example are then other example are finger joints are also examples of hinge joint. Then again the synovial joint, a kind of fluid, synovial fluid will be present in certain region to lubricate or to remove friction between the bones. Certain fluid is present in certain regions of our body. Knee joint is an example for synovial joint. Knee joint and one more knee, for example, for the synovial fluid is present. Then our shoulder region also, it is also synovial, that in that region also a liquid is present. So a particular kind of ligament, tough ligamental, a capsule like region is there that is protecting the liquid from escaping out. So again certain ligaments are also present that is holding the bones in position. So you learned about the synovial joint. What is in the knee also, you can see the synovial fluid is present. Then another bone is known as the patella or kneecap, that is from the tendon, that is an extension of tendon. That particular bone is produced from the tip of the tendon. Tendon is the particular tissue that is connecting a bone to a muscle. ഒരു ബോണ് മസിലുമായിട്ട് അറ്റാച്ച് ചെയ്യുന്ന ടിഷ്യൂ ആണ് ടെൻഡൻ. ഫ്രം ദ ടിപ്പ് ഓഫ് ദ ടെൻഡൻ ദ നീ ക്യാപ്പ്, നമ്മൾ മുട്ടുചിരട്ട എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഭാഗം ശരിക്കും ടെൻഡണിൻ്റെ അറ്റത്തു നിന്ന് വന്നിട്ടുള്ളൊരു പ്രത്യേക ഒരു ബോണാണ്. നീ ക്യാപ്പ് ഈസ് പ്രൊഡ്യൂസ്ഡ് ഫ്രം ദെയർ. ദെൻ മസിൽസ് ഓൾസോ പ്രസൻറ്റ് ഇൻ ദ ബോഡി ഹെൽപ്പ് us to move. Then muscles, skeletal muscles are really helping us to move. Skeletal muscles are helping us to move. Then the muscle and bone attached in different, how the movement is possible, it is described here in the chapter in 12.15, how a small contraction of the muscle help us to move our body in very larger angles. How it is described here in the first order lever, may be three we can classify the liver into first order, second order, third order. In physics you learned about the liver. Our bone and muscles are also attached like that. You can see in the first, that is the elbow region, that attached in a particular, here the fulcrum that is coming in between in the first order liver. In the second order, that is the the toes and heel, lifting up of the heel. In that type, our leg is acting like the second order lever. And in the third diagram you can see the elbow part, that is extension, elbow, extension of arm. We are lifting up of the arm. Here also the fulcrum is in between the you can see here it is the third order of lever. You can see how it function. So I am finishing the lesson. You read it well. If you have any doubt, you can ask me. I shall send you the question answer later. All of you read the textbook and find out, try to find out the answer. I shall explain it later. Thank you for listening the class.